So welcome to the class, and in this I'm going to talk about why does the demand curve slope downwards. So of course it's an inverse relation, but why so? So there are certain reasons that they've given. One is the law of diminishing marginal utility. The second is the law of equimarginal utility. And then you talk about the income effect, and then we have number of uses and change in the number of buyers. Okay, so that is the reason why the demand curve sloped downwards. So let's take up the first one, or just let me just show it to you. So these are the points, just go through them. So of course the first is the law of diminishing marginal utility, mu is equal to p. Second is what is equimarginal utility, or we can also call it the substitution effect. We can talk about the income effect. Third, that is another reason. And the fourth is the amount of people, that is number of buyers change, they increase, and different uses of a commodity when the price falls. So these are the points. Now let me take the first one, the law of diminishing marginal utility. So in a few previous classes we've done consumers equilibrium, and so I'm just going to explain in terms of demand. Now what happens? Suppose if the price of X, the consumer's equilibrium is where MUX is equal to PX. Marginal utility of the X commodity should be equal to the price to get consumer's equilibrium, to be in that satisfaction position. Now what happens is, suppose this is MU and this is price. Okay, so which means that suppose the price falls. Now marginal utility is more than the price. So what happens? The law of diminishing marginal, you would tend to buy more and more units of X. As you get more and more units of X, your utility derived from that keeps falling, and it comes and matches the price. So that is one reason why, again, we say that at a lower price you tend to buy more. Now we also have what is known as equimarginal utility, in which we are talking about say more than one commodity. Say there are two commodities, X and Y. So, and you know the formula, remember, MUX upon PX is equal to MUY upon PY. So that is it. Suppose now what happens is that the price of X commodity falls. So what will you do? Naturally you will buy more of X as compared to Y. So then you come to this equilibrium. And again it proves that when the price goes down, you will demand more. So there's another reason. And income effect. So what is income effect? Income effect, it's not. So what happens when the prices go down? It seems that your income has risen. It's not that your income has risen. It seems that the effect is like it shows that the income has risen. So that is income effect. So you tend to buy more of that commodity whose prices have gone down. It is in your benefit. You're a rational consumer, so you benefit from there. So that is the reason why the demand curve slopes downwards. And of course, anything that becomes, if the prices fall, people there'll be the number of buyers increase. And for that particular commodity, say the fifth point which I'm taking is, for example, if the price of a commodity falls, say milk, now what you will do is you can use it in different in various ways. So milk can be used, initially we were just buying it to make, say, tea, or just those essentially to have little milk, but now you can turn it into butter, buttermilk, curds, you can make sweetmeats or whatever. So let me just come up with this, and so let's just take this, the first one, as I explained. So the question is, why does the demand curve slope downwards? Now what is that? Now the first is, so why do you think that people demand more at a lower price? So the first is, marginal utility is equal to price principle of a single commodity. So in this, what happens? Given that a consumer purchases a good up to the point where marginal utility of the good becomes equal to the price of that good. So mu is equal to P is the consumer's equilibrium, maximizing his satisfaction. Now suppose that the price of the good falls and therefore it becomes lower than the marginal utility. Now it means that the marginal utility is greater than the price. And since marginal utility is greater than the price, it will induce the consumer to buy more units of that good. In fact, now what happens is, the consumer must buy more in his natural endeavor to reach equilibrium again. It shows that when the price of a good falls, its demand rises. So the consumer will continue to buy more until the marginal utility for him falls enough to be equal to the price again. Okay, so this is what it is. So now we take the law of equimarginal utility. So this is what it is, which we call the substitution effect. So the law states that the consumer is in equilibrium when the ratio of the marginal utility to price in case of each good consumed is the same. In a two goods X and Y case, then a consumer is in equilibrium when MUX upon PX is equal to MUY upon PY. Given that the consumer is in equilibrium and the price of X falls, so what happens? This change disturbs the equality and converts it into the following inequality. So it becomes like MUX upon PX is greater than MUY upon PY. So what does it mean? That after a fall in the price of X, mu of last rupee spent on X becomes greater than the marginal utility of the last rupee spent on Y. So this induces the consumer to buy more of X by transferring expenditure from Y commodity, or transferring expenditure from Y to X. So this shows that when price of a good falls, its demand rises. So the consumer will go on buying till more of X till he reaches equilibrium again. So this could be called what is known as a substitution effect. Okay. So he will substitute Y for X. So what is substitution effect? Let me just once again reiterate. What is substitution effect? What does it mean? It implies a substitution of cheaper good for relatively expensive goods. So that is the substitution effect, as we just saw that. Look here. You can just go through that. Now let's just take the income effect. Now what is income effect? It simply means that when the price falls, there's an increase in the consumer's real income. This usually encourages him to increase his demand for the commodity because it is as if the consumer's income has increased. Similarly, at a higher price, he can purchase only smaller quantity due to fall in purchasing power of his money income, or fall in his real income. So income effect is what? The change in demand due to change in real income of the consumer when price of the given commodity falls. Okay, or changes. It's called income effect. Like for example, if the price of a commodity falls, the consumer will have greater purchasing power even if his money income does not change. So that is what is we call the income effect. Like you must try to explain or rather try to understand with the help of an example. For example, if you go to buy oranges, which you were buying initially for 80 rupees, and now they have fallen to 80 rupees a kg. Now suppose it falls to 40 rupees a kg. So what happens? What will you do? So won't you buy more? So that won't you feel that your income is more now? You have more money to spend on that commodity. Now let's take another one, change in the number of buyers. When the price of a commodity falls, many new buyers start demanding the good which they were not able to buy earlier due to high price. Besides new buyers, old consumers of the consumer also start buying more quantity of the good. On the other hand, when the price rises, demand falls. So like I just give you the example of say oranges. If they become cheaper, there'll be new buyers who come into the market who are not purchasing those oranges for rupees 80. So when the price falls, new buyers also come into the market. Now like for different uses, say, or let's just take, okay, so a commodity may have several uses. For example, milk is used for drinking, preparing tea, making curds, cheese, and butter. If price of milk falls, it will be put to more uses. So that's the way it is. For example, now let's just take the oranges that we were talking about. Initially, you'll just buy oranges to eat, or you will share it with everybody at home. But now it can be put to different uses. Now you can have juice. You can turn it into juice, or you can turn it into marmalade besides eating. So that's what I call as an interesting topic on reasons for the downward slope of the demand curve. So you can get questions based on that.